All right, out front now, let's go to Democratic Senator Adam Schiff of California, as promised. And Senator, I appreciate your time. So I just want to start with this fund, because I know you were introducing the bill today, right, that would block the $1.8 billion fund, that would go to people that Trump says were wrongly prosecuted. That could include January 6th convicted participants. Do you believe that Trump's attempt for this fund is over, that it's really gone?
No, I don't. I think this is a tactical retreat. He wanted this to be part of the reconciliation bill that we're taking up this week, which is really supposed to be focused, from the Republican point of view, on more billions for ICE and CBP, but was weighted down first by $1 billion for the ballroom and then by $1.8 billion for a slush fund. So I think this is just Trump saying, okay, I'm not going to include it in this bill, but I'm not giving up on this idea. I think the courts also helped force his hand, at least temporarily. The court's putting a pause on this. But this is the most brazen act of self-dealing corruption we have seen yet, at a time when, as your last clip demonstrated, the economy is really struggling, people are struggling, the cost of living is way too high, and the American people want the president and Congress to be focused on that, not enriching himself and his cronies.
So, Senator, I mentioned the face-to-face with Mike Johnson, which appears to have been important, that meeting between Trump and the Speaker. Because obviously, if this were your bill and Democrats who are against the fund, Trump could have cared less and he would have gone ahead with it, right? I mean, it was Republicans who turned on him, that forced his hand, as you say, for now, right? But that included the leader of the Senate, John Thune. He had made it clear that he was against this. And, you know, look, I know this is a question that over the years I've probably asked you multiple times. But I am curious in the context of people like Thomas Massie and Cassidy and Cornyn, as to whether you believe Republican lawmakers that anything shifted, that they're going to actually start standing up to him on other things as well.
Well, I do think as we get closer to the midterms and as Republicans start to fear their own voters more than they fear the president, you will see more independence. But I don't think we're seeing a seismic shift. I also wouldn't overstate Speaker Johnson's role in at least temporarily putting a pause on the slush fund. Johnson has been nothing but a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. I think hearing Senate Republicans speak out, and not just privately, which we've heard many times in the past, but publicly, and talk about what a shameful and stupid political exercise this is, I think that was far more responsible for this tactical retreat. I would like to think Republicans are at a sea change, but we have been disappointed so many times in the past. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Interesting, though, that you see it much more from the Senate, the pressure there, than from the Speaker. I want to ask you about something else, because here we are on Monday night, and Tuesday is a big day, and it's a big day in California for the race for governor with the primary. You were the first named senator to endorse Eric Swalwell, which, of course, was before multiple women came forward with sexual misconduct allegations against him. His campaign was over, and the field since then has been in somewhat chaos. Who are you going to be voting for?
Well, I've already voted, but I've not made an endorsement, so I'm not going to talk about my vote, or that would constitute an endorsement. I was only going to weigh in again after Swalwell left the field if there was a real risk that Democrats with our top two system might be shut out. I think that is now much less than it had been earlier in the race. It looks very likely that there will be one Democrat at the top of the field. The question now is whether there'll be two Democrats who make the runoff, or a Democrat and a Republican. And those, I think, polls are too close to tell. But I think that's the issue that Californians are facing right now.
Do you really think it could be two Democrats as opposed to one Democrat, which I guess according to polling, that would be Becerra, if it goes according to polls, and a Republican second, whether that's Hilton or Steyer? But you believe you could have two Democrats?
It is certainly possible. The number 2 and 3 position in most polls is very close between Steyer and Hilton, the Republican. So that's entirely possible. I think this is honestly a terrible system, because I think voters don't want to be disenfranchised from a choice for someone from their party. And we've seen it work both for and against Democrats and for and against Republicans. So I hope this will breed a conversation about whether it makes sense to use this system going forward.
And I will say Mr. Hilton's going to be a guest on this program later on this hour, so we're going to be speaking to him. I do want to ask you one other key race, and that is Maine, right? And obviously when it comes to the Senate, that's a crucial pickup opportunity, right? It could come down to Maine. And now we've learned that the Democratic candidate, Graham Platner, sent sexually explicit texts to many women who were not his wife. And obviously, he's already admitted to having covered up a Nazi-linked tattoo. So, I mean, do you think he's fit? Do you worry about Graham Platner? Are you okay with him because he's a Democrat?
Well, I'm going to wait to learn more about these recent allegations involving his texting other women. Ultimately, though, it's going to be up to Maine voters what they decide, how important or unimportant that is, and how important to focus on the economy, cost of living, and those issues are. But I'm going to wait until I know more about what just came out within the last 24 or 48 hours to really say more about it.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. And Senator Schiff, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And David.